than 7 minutes and 1 possession into Saturday's game against Indiana at Maryland Stadium, the Terps trailed 7-0. The defense, which vowed during the week to get off the field on third down, couldn't. After sophomore quarterback Max Bortenschlager was intercepted on his second snap, his first head resulted in a 2-yard loss on a pass to wide receiver DJ Moore. The Hoosiers scored again to take a 14-0 lead with a little under 9 minutes gone. Indiana freshman quarterback Peyton Ramsey, who had completed 9 of his first 10 passes for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns, looked like the surefire future Hall of Famer for whom he was certainly named. On the Maryland sideline, it started looking like DJvu. "We've been hit in the mouth several times," Maryland coach DJ Durkin said, alluding to the 3-game losing streak his Terps had taken into their homecoming game. "I felt all week long we had prepared for this game." In the first 5 minutes, you probably would have said, "Where was that feeling you had?" It did not start very well. It's just one of those things. There were a couple of plays here and there, and it turned on us very quickly. Credit our kids for their resiliency and for just seeing it through. Durkin proved to be a pretty good cornerman for his Terps, helping them stop the bleeding and resurrecting their bowl hopes with a much-needed win over the hard-luck Hoosiers, who lost yet another close Big Ten East game. Maryland holds on to beat Indiana, 42-39, to break 3-game losing streak. Here are 5 things we learned from Maryland's 42-39 win over Indiana. 1. DJ Moore might be the best receiver in school history. As crazy as that sounds for a former 3-star recruit who is a little more than halfway through his junior year, Moore is quickly creeping up on former Maryland stars Torrey Smith and Jermaine Lewis in a number of categories. Though he climbed to within 1 of tying Smith's school record of catches in 30 straight games with that initial negative yard play, and he had a relatively quiet game with 4 receptions for 77 yards and a touchdown, his 2 big plays showed why he should get such notice. While Moore's 44-yard catch in the first quarter came on one of the best back shoulder throws Bortenschlager has made all season, Moore caught it with one hand, and his back turned completely to his quarterback. It helped set up his 8th receiving touchdown this season. Moore's 33-yard catch to set up Maryland's last touchdown on a 1-yard run by sophomore Jake Funk demonstrated his athleticism and his strong, reliable hands. With an Indiana defender stride for stride, Moore leaped to pull down Bortenschlager's pass. The wide receiver can tie Smith's consecutive game mark next Saturday at Rutgers. He needs 1 touchdown reception to tie Lewis and Marcus Badgett for second place with 9 in a season, 4 to tie Smith's record of 12 set in 2010. Moore has 17 career receiving touchdowns. Whether he can break Lewis's career record of 21 depends on one thing: if he returns for his senior year. Terps football coach discusses team overcoming adversity this season. Caption. 2. Darnell Savage Jr. is channeling his inner Will Likely 3. Some were a bit skeptical when Savage announced last spring that he was switching jerseys and taking the number 4 worn by Likely. It was Likely who encouraged his fellow Floridian to take the mantle as Maryland's defensive playmaker by taking his old number. As well as he has played this season, Savage gave Maryland any chance of winning Saturday by the 2 plays he made in the first half. Savage's interception in the first quarter, his 3rd of the season, led to the Terps cutting the 14-0 deficit in half. After the Hoosiers increased their lead to 69 on a safety, his blocked punt and subsequent 16-yard touchdown return cut the deficit to 16-14. Earlier this season, Savage's 75-yard interception return against Houston was straight out of Likely's playbook. 3. Javon Leake needs to be more involved in the game plan. The freshman running back certainly leads the Terps in big plays per touch this season. He has carried the ball 6 times and has scored twice, a 61-yarder against Houston and a 20-yarder against Ohio State. He is averaging 32.7 yards a carry. after Moore got a little dinged up late in the first half on a kickoff return, and the first two Indiana kickoffs in the second half ended up as touchbacks. Leak took a kickoff 82 yards to help set up a 1-yard go-ahead touchdown by Funk. "He was shot out of a cannon," Durkin said of Leak. "That guy is something special. Durkin needs to fire the cannon more often the rest of the season." After coming back from knee surgery, Terps safety Denzel Conyers contributes wherever he can. 4. Using the bench helped keep Maryland's defense stay fresh at the end. One of the biggest issues with the Terps this season has been their defense, especially the line, fading as the game went on. While it had not affected the results that much in the team's 4 defeats this season, it could have been a big reason if Maryland had lost to Indiana. Durkin talked after the game how it had been an emphasis in the pre-game preparation. "I wanted to play more guys, get more guys involved, and get them out there," Durkin said. "We have a great team and a great group of guys who hang together. Even the guys who don't play much are into it on the sideline, but I think it builds the team. There were several guys on special teams and walk-on guys who we played. No more, let's practice and see if they're ready. Just go and play and let loose. A lot of those guys stepped up big for us." 5. Maryland student support was embarrassing. Given where the school is located and the program's situation in the Big Ten, it's not a shock that Maryland still has a major issue with drawing fans. An announced crowd of 35,144 showed up for homecoming. The one group that typically comes to games, the students, was visible by its absence Saturday. Not only did the student section have quite a few empty seats at kickoff, it was less than half filled at halftime even after Maryland had erased the early 14-0 deficit and taken a lead into its locker room. By game's end, it was nearly empty. Sure, there were probably Halloween parties to go to, but that kind of support is going to eventually trickle down and cost Maryland some recruits, and possibly even Durkin, someday. A student reporter asked Bortenschlager about the student apathy after the game. "Winning just makes everything better," Bortenschlager said. "When a team's winning, people are going to want to be there to support them. I think that's the biggest thing.